Yes. So I hope you can see my screen right now.
Yes, it is visible. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, and thank you so much for the introductions and for having me, of course. And it's lovely to be here, even if it's online and not in person. I do think that online is a great way of doing community work, basically, because that means that we don't have to travel, which is good. Because I'm, of course, calling in from Norway. I'm from Norway, and my name is Knut Relbe-Moe, and today we're going to talk about how to get started with Copilot for the end users, because Copilot has been out now for quite some time, and there are probably a lot of questions, a lot of challenges, a lot of like, where should we get started, basically, from all the users out there. And of course, there's also like the big licensing question, like everybody's asking themselves, like, hey, do I want to have Copilot? Do I have can I afford basically to pay 30 euros or $30 per month to have a Copilot license, or is it possible to do things without that Copilot license, and what are the differences basically with having a Copilot license and not, basically. So let's dig into all that today together, and yeah, please let me know if you have any questions. So this is me, and feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, of course. I'm always happy to get a bigger network and to connect with new people. That's one of the greatest things about being a Microsoft MVP, is that you get connected with people from all across the world. And for me, community is the most important thing. So I really love sharing my knowledge with everyone, and feel free to drop me a message or even an email if you have any questions following this session as well. So the goal for today's session is, of course, get to know a little bit about Copilot and where should we start as an end user, and some best practices. Because honestly saying, like the last 6 months or so, because Copilot has been out since November last year, so it is kind of like, and of course, we got a lot of changes now in January, where we didn't need to have like the 300 licenses that it was in the beginning. So we could just have like one license in the tenant. It is everyone is talking about like more or less like how to prepare your organization. You need to do a review of your permissions. You need to have focus on security and access and all that kind of stuff to make sure that Copilot doesn't get access to things they shouldn't. But again, if we take like an analog to the search or SharePoint search, have we ever had a good experience trying to find something when we are searching for something in SharePoint? I would say that it has been a challenging journey, at least. So, and it's not going to help with Copilot in a sense if we don't know how we should search, or how we should ask our questions, or how we will interact with Copilot. It's not going to help us even if we have the best security trimming, making sure that I don't get access to things I shouldn't. So I think everyone needs to start to figuring out like how to start with Copilot, and also like look into all the different Copilots, like who is the right Copilot for me as an end user, and do I really need that license that costs like my company or myself like either $20 if I should buy a personal license, or like $30 if my organization should buy me a license, or it's okay to use the licensing or the free version, or is it okay to use the corporate version that is included in the already license that you might have already, like E1, E3, E5, or the business premium licensing. So let's look at where can I start. Let's say that I have learned about Copilot, and what should I do? Like, where should I go? Like, what shall I do? Like, where can I find Copilot? Actually, that's a good question itself, like how to access Copilot and how to find it. So let's dig into all of this. But before that, I just wanted to mention that if we have some experts in the room today, we are looking for people in one of my organization, Rent 365 experts, that can help us with finding, helping to build a community, because this is also a community. So feel free and drop me a line if you want to be either a member here or if you want to be an expert on this as well. But let's go and take a look at Microsoft Copilot. I'll just skip the video here, but yeah, so Microsoft Copilot is not an autopilot, so that's one of the first things that you should kind of get to know each other, is that you know, it's not something that you should just use and then send to a customer or send to your boss or something like that. Like, it's not like you should just ask Copilot, like write a blog about Copilot for me and publish it online. That's not how we should use Copilot. You should imagine that Copilot is, in this case, your Clippy, like everybody's like from, I see a lot of community guys are comparing with the old Clippy that we had before in Word and so on. Or you should just imagine this as your assistant, you know, that will do something for you, so that you will kind of get help to produce content, or help to get the content improved, or help to get the content better than how it is originally. So let's go and I'll just skip the video because I will show you a demo later. So don't worry. This is just for people that want to have the slide deck afterwards. So this is a little bit the background information, like how Copilot is working. I think the key aspect here is actually you need to think about this is like how it interprets everything with the large language models. But the key here is this one, is the fact that when Copilot works, it's like it will see everything that you have access to through the Microsoft Graph, like all the connections, everything that you are having. That is where it will actually see. So for instance, if I search something, it will see everything that I have permissions to see inside of the tenant. That will be files in SharePoint, that will be files in OneDrive, that will be emails, that will be chats from Teams, and so on. So everything like that is what Copilot will see. So for instance, if I'm working in an organization and they have kind of a person in that organization had like a quite so sensitive document inside of their OneDrive, and they clicked and they wanted to send a link to that document, and they clicked like shared with everyone on that link, then I will have even access to that sensitive document, even if in a sense I should not see that document. I will anyway see it through Microsoft Copilot. So this is why everyone is now talking about, hey, we need to take a step back and we need to figure out like how are the permissions set inside of our Microsoft 365 environment. And this is where I think everyone that is a consultant need to go and talk about this, because we haven't had any big stories yet that somebody saw something that they shouldn't when it comes to Copilot, but that will gonna happen sooner or later anyways. So yeah, and then of course we have over here, this I will get back to a little bit later, but you can have Copilot working inside of your Microsoft 365 application. That's what is called Microsoft 365 Copilot. That is the one that is costing like $30 per user per month, or you can have just Microsoft Copilot inside of your browser or inside of Microsoft Teams, for instance, with the client that is also there. We will take a look at all those things later. So, but the big difference between Microsoft 365 Copilot and Microsoft Copilot, yeah, it's kind of confusing, I know, is that Microsoft 365 Copilot is embedded across all of the Microsoft 365 application that you're using, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams. So it will just makes it easier in a sense for your users, because you have access to Copilot in the context of where you're working. You don't need to jump out to somewhere else to get access to it. All right, let's just go a few steps forward. I want to spend some time with demos later. So yeah, so Copilot is available everywhere, basically. It's either available in the browser through copilot.microsoft.com, You can go also at bing.com/copilot, and you'll get into the Microsoft Copilot. To have the Microsoft 365 Copilot, as I mentioned, that is accessible only inside of the different applications that you are going to use, that you're used to use, basically. This is actually how it looks from the mobile. So, for instance, me, I have an Apple phone, and I'm using the Microsoft keyboard inside there. So I also get actually the Copilot icon inside of my keyboard, which will, if Copilot is installed on the phone, will bring me to the Copilot app in a sense. So Copilot is available everywhere inside of your pocket. It's available on the web. It's also available inside of Windows if you're not from Norway like I'm, because it's also currently banned here. But it's something that will sooner or later also be available inside of Windows here, I'm pretty sure. But due to some GDPR or some like legal things, they haven't been allowed to enable it inside of Windows yet in my country. At least I don't know how it is in your countries, but for me, I cannot access it in Windows yet. But besides it will be on the mobile devices, and of course it's in the Microsoft Edge browser. So some people will say it's not accessible everywhere because it's not on the Mac yet, but it's on the iOS and the iPad OS, so you can at least access it through there. And of course, if you have the Edge browser, you can get it on every kind of device, basically. So where should I, as an end user, get started? There are a couple of really good URLs that I will share with you later that is good for an end user to get started, but one of them are adoption.microsoft.com/copilot. There you'll find a lot of really good information. You have a lot of really good courses as well on Microsoft Learn, so that's a good place to start as well. But in my honest opinion, you shouldn't start with at least per the $30 per month license. You should just start it with what you have access to already today, even without the license. And that's why I'm going to focus more or less the rest of today's talk about that side of the Copilot story, the one that is the freemium, let's call it like that, the free version of Copilot, because you can do so much stuff with that free version without needing to pay those $30 per user per month. The one thing that I will say is that if you are having a lot of Teams meeting like this one, then the $30 per user is quite affordable when it comes to getting meeting recaps, being inside of a meeting. Like for instance, right now, if I have to step out for 5 minutes, I can go back and I can ask like what happened in the meeting while I was out. You can be asking like summarize this meeting for me and all those things. That would be actually quite so great. So if you have a lot of meetings and you are needing to have like a meeting, like a recap of the meeting, you need to have like some possibility to easy create actions from task from a meeting that you have talked about, etc. So you don't need to do that yourself. Then that is actually the best users case, in my opinion. And I've talked with a lot of Microsoft MVPs, and they agree with me that the best user scenario for M365 Copilot at the moment is using it inside of Microsoft Teams. But for now, let's focus on the freemium version here. So here we have a few different Copilot versions. As I mentioned, Copilot Copilot is free. You don't need even to sign in there. But I will get back into why I think you need to use the Copilot, not with being signed in, basically, because that gives you a lot of more possibilities. So here we have Copilot free, but you're signed in with your Microsoft account. So this is kind of like the Xbox account. It's like the account that you used before, like Hotmail or Outlook, or you can of course create like a Microsoft account based on your Gmail account as well. You just need to have an account that is identified as a Microsoft account. Then you have the Microsoft Copilot Pro. So this is the consumer version of Copilot because we didn't have enough already. So let's confuse the end users a little bit more, be it adding another one. So this one came out a little bit after we had the kind of the the consumer version and Microsoft 365 Copilot available without the 300 threshold. Then they came out with Microsoft Copilot Pro. So what are the difference between this one and Microsoft 365 Copilot? So the difference here is that this one over here, this is $20 per user per month, and it requires you to have a Microsoft 365 personal license or a family account, but you cannot share that Microsoft Copilot Pro with the entire family because Microsoft has like a family license where you can have, you can share the Microsoft license for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on with up to 5 family members. But Copilot cannot be shared, so each and every family member that wants to use the Microsoft Copilot Pro has to have their own Microsoft Copilot Pro licensing. And for that, it will be like, yeah, $20 per user per month. Then we have the consumer one, the one that is for, oh sorry, the one for enterprises, which is the Microsoft 365 Copilot, the one that everyone has been talking about since it was launched like last year, and we had like the 300 threshold to limit who can actually use it, because at that current point of time, it costed like $10,000 a month to use it, which kind of limited quite a lot who can actually start to use the M365 Copilot. But now since January, this one has been available, so everyone could go in and actually buy a license like this, but it requires you to have a enterprise license, E1, E3, E5, or faculty license, or to have a business premium license. So you need to have at least one of those to be able to have the Microsoft 365 Copilot license attached to you. But then again, it's like, who needs this license? This is something that I hope I will spend a little bit of time talking about later as well. But my message is that not everyone in an organization will need to have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license, because you can do quite a lot with this one up here, which is for free basically, because you already pay for it. So let's go and take a little bit a look about what's the differences between how Copilot freemium is working if you are signed in and if you are not signed in. For instance, if you are not signed in, you can only have 5 prompts, so like you can only ask 5 times Copilot about something per conversation. So that means that you have limitations. You can you have no personalization as conversations are not saved. Because you can teach Copilot a little bit like to write like how you write if you want, and so on. But with the not being signed in, it has no idea that you are you. So how can it learn anything? So that is where that will kind of be as well. And you cannot create any images if you are not signed in. So there are a lot of limitations to not being signed in. And how difficult is it to create like a Microsoft account? It doesn't cost anything, so it's for free to actually create the Microsoft account. Either you can just create like a outlook.com email address and just use that one, or you can, of course, use your other one and just turn that into a Microsoft account. I remember doing this like many years ago. And so apparently Microsoft has not enough people with the Microsoft account, so that's why they are pushing it this way again. So that means that if you sign in, you'll have unlimited conversations, and you will only have the limit of 30 prompts per conversation. So it means that you can have as many, you can basically have you can ask Copilot about everything, and you will not have a threshold and wait until the next day. But that is actually the same way that ChatGPT 3 is also working, which is kind of this AI system underneath the hood of Microsoft Copilot. And of course, you will have personalization based on previous conversation, but you can turn it off. So it's up to you if you want to keep that inside of Copilot or not. But it will be there. It will be only accessible to you. So it's not like Microsoft is using that to train the AI or anything like that besides for you. So it's not like they will use that for other people signing in with Copilot. It's only your personal stories, let's call it like that, like the OneDrive for Copilot, basically. So it will be just yours. Let's actually, instead of doing these slides, I will just jump and I will show it to you in live instead, if the demo gods are with us. Let's hope for that, because Copilot in Edge, it's actually pretty cool, and that's the place where I'm actually honestly saying you should either start with Copilot in Edge or you should start with Copilot in the browser. So let's go and take a look at those two experiences. So, for instance, to get into Copilot in Edge, you have the button up here, the Copilot button. You also have a shortcut, Control-Shift and the plus Control-Shift buttons, and then you can bring it into here. And here you'll see that right now I'm signed in with my work account because I see Copilot for Microsoft 365 here and the logo of my environment. But if I will be, let's just go and open up like, let's just do this one. Sorry about that. But if I will just go in here, Copilot, Microsoft, well, let's just do Bing, bing.com/Copilot. You'll get in here, and you see now I don't have any logo, I don't have anything up here, so it means that I am just here without being actually signed in. I can still ask Copilot about things, but you see here, sign in to ask more questions and have longer conversations even. So, and as Marie is written here, Copilot uses AI check for mistakes. That's super important. You should not trust everything that comes out of the mouth of Copilot, because Copilot will go and find different type of sources, and you have to actually control that this is true what it writes. It's kind of a little bit like in the old age when you was going and Googling how to have, let's say, check all users in Azure AD and with the PowerShell, and or you wanted to like do update all user profiles in SharePoint, and that was like a PowerShell script as well, and you downloaded the script and you just run it without checking it before. You shouldn't do like that. So it's kind of the similar approach. You need to make sure you know what you're doing. You need to make sure that you know the topic that you are working with Copilot about, because if not, you might end up thinking something is true that is not true. So kind of like reading the newspapers, but that's a different story. So here you see that there are some kind of hints to what you can do already from within the Copilot interface. You also have here some GPTs that is already created, so you can go to the Copilot Designer. You can have the vacation planner, a cooking assistant, or a fitness trainer. And it gets quite popular to start to create your own Copilot GPTs with Copilot Studio. I'm not going to go into that today because that's a totally topic by itself. But if you want to create your own Copilots, that's where you should start to look into Copilot Studio, basically. We also see here that we have what's called a notebook. So if you want to write more text and so on, then this is the place to go. And you can also go in and adjust the content that you get in here, which is pretty cool. And you can see that you can also use the microphone, you can add an image. So this is something that, yeah, you should also start to look at and play around with. But let's for now just go in here and ask Copilot without being signed in. We can ask like Copilot, what is Copilot, basically. Now I got like a funny question also about asking me to sign in. Let's try again. If not, I'll do it in a different browser later. Copilot. What is Copilot? Yeah, didn't like that. So let's go to my environment where I'm actually signed in. And then we can do it from here. So let's just instead go here and let's just go from this page and just go into where let's go to Copilot, Microsoft.com. So here you see that I'm signed in. up here. It's my corporate account, so it's not my personal account. I can also go and switch to a personal account, for instance. And we see also here that I have my logo up here, which is really identifiable that I'm here with my corporate account. So what is Microsoft Copilot? So now you see it's worked on the content, and it will, in a minute, give me an answer. Takes a few seconds. So probably Google works a little bit quicker, but of course here it's more nice that it kind of writes like a typewriter here on the screen. What is really also something you should pay attention to here is like I have 1 of 30 responses. That's what I said. Like if I will not be signing, it will be 1 of 5. So that's also something we need to be aware of. But I can go and write a new topic, and then I will get 30 more since I'm here with being signed in. We also see that I have a reference. So it's actually go in and reference into a document that is here to find the data, because work content and chats cannot be seen outside the organization, because here I'm inside my organization and I used work up here and I didn't go on the web. So it looked into my SharePoint and my OneDrive files to find the answer of my question. If I go to web here instead, you will see that what is Microsoft Copilot? It will actually instead go and look online for the same question, and you see now that it's actually here online finding the answer to those questions. So, but you see that the answer I got was pretty different than the one that I got when I searched locally. So this is also something you need to be aware of. But you see here, I also have the green that my AMP are protected. So this is also what you get from being signed in. That you get, and since this is a corporate version and not the consumer version, they also have data is protected here. So let's make sure that nobody else see what I'm asking Copilot. That's the idea here. We see that I can write 2,000 words, and we see here that we have like this. This is really good for giving feedback to Microsoft that Microsoft will use to improve Copilot. So use this actively. They are monitoring this, and I can also copy it and I can export it. So and of course here, if I will dislike this, you will see that it will ask me to send the feedback to Microsoft. So really use this active, because that is something that Microsoft is monitoring, and they really want us to provide them feedback to help them to make Copilot even better. So let's do like instead, and you see again, it's a little bit less, but you here of course have to agree on sharing the prompt response and the data, yes or no, like obviously always do when you are providing feedback to Microsoft. So nothing different than what we are used to from before. But here you see that it has a lot of links that you can actually click to learn more about this one. And you saw Copilot was happy that I liked the answer. That is nice. All right, we can also ask like, what is a Microsoft MVP? Like this. So now you see that it gives us a message about what is Microsoft MVP all about. We can also ask, is Knut Relbe Moe a Microsoft MVP? So you can see here. And there you see that it brings in from different sources here, and I can also ask what are some other Microsoft MVPs, and this is like where actually we are taking we are asking one question and then we keep asking questions to Copilot, so we are in the same context, and by this you can actually get better and better and better responses as well from Copilot. So sometimes don't think that you should just ask Copilot one thing and that's it, and you need to start a new topic. A lot of times it's really good to kind of do different things here. We can see create an image with a lion in front of a waterfall. So now it tries to create an image for us. So you see, and here I can do also imaging. Like if I will not be signed in, this is something I will not be able to do, for instance. And you see also here, it suggested other things that I can do with that same image. For instance, we can add a rainbow in the background. So that is again working with the same image that it already created, but making modifications to it. Like this is really, really cool when it comes to Copilot. And you see, I'm not now also using, this is something that will work without Microsoft Copilot license attached to my user. This is Copilot without the Microsoft 365 Copilot, basically. So apparently it took a little bit of time to generate a rainbow in the background. Should look outside my window. Then I'll probably see that in Norway it's actually snowing today, which is kind of crazy because it's like 16th of March, and we was hoping that spring will come soon. But yeah, so let's just try again. Make it look like a pencil sketch. Apparently, it is fall asleep. Yeah, now it worked. Too many people are trying the same, probably. So let's see how it will look, and when it looks like a pencil sketch instead. And it also got actually the rainbow now. So I don't know why it didn't show me the rainbow up here. So that is pretty cool. We can do quite a lot with Copilot in just a few seconds. And of course, these images are created with the Microsoft Designer, so which is really cool tool by itself. Like for instance, on my slide deck, I had the image about Rent 365 Expert that was also generated with Microsoft Designer, by the way. So that is really cool. But that is kind of a Microsoft Copilot inside of the browser. And you saw the difference that with the web, it went outside. If you have the work tab here, then it will do things just inside of your organization. It's not going to go outside of Microsoft 365 or outside your SharePoint or OneDrive, emails, etc. Here it will stay in that scope, basically. So yeah, so you see what's new. This one is actually really good. For instance, again, if I have been on a vacation somewhere, I can use like what's the latest from my colleague, for instance, and then it will tell me about that. I don't know if it will bring me anything here, but let's try. Let's just do this one from Daniel Anderson, which is also a good friend of mine. Let's see what it will bring us. So now, of course, it will look into what I have interaction with him, and yeah, he couldn't find it because yeah, we haven't had that much interaction because this is like a Microsoft sandbox environment that we got access to as MVP, so it's not something I use on a daily basis. But if this will be my real tenant and I will have asked like what is the latest from my colleague, it will give me a summary of what the latest about that. Or for instance, we can have this to generate meeting notes from a meeting as well. So even if we don't have the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is costing money, we can actually use it to do a lot of things with our documents or with our meetings and so on. So let's go and take a look at actually how this will be in the browser. So here you see that I'm on a website where it's all about announcing Copilot in Viva Engage. So if I click on the top right corner here, this is what brings me into the inside of the Edge experience. So here we can, of course, create a FAQ based on a file. We can go and, for instance, also ask it to summarize this page. And now, since I have this page up inside of the browser, it can actually summarize this exact page for me. So, and that could have worked also. Okay, it's kind of because I had work again. So you need to remember to be in the right scope. So that's the user mistake. So summarize this web page for me. So then it asks us just to accept. So let's do that. So see, now it works because I was in the work scope here. So you need to be just aware that you are in the right scope at all current point of time when you are doing things. If not, it will show you that, by the way, you are in the wrong scope. So this is pretty cool. So for instance, now it summarized me in just a few seconds the key elements of this page. So by this, I can also really quickly read through the web page, and I will figure out, like, is this something I want to read more into, or maybe I want to create my own blog based on this one. So I can also go here, create a blog, short blog about this web page. So now you see that it's creating actually a blog about this web page as well. So I can just actually copy paste it and I can put it online. But again, you should never just copy paste it and put it online, because maybe something it writes here is wrong. So that's where you need to go and actually know about the context or the context here. And by this, you will be able to, use it to actually get started, or kind of improve the way you work, basically. Like, one of the features in Copilot that I personally really love is that I can also, like, for instance, that's of course part of the M365 Copilot licensing. It's, for instance, inside of Word, where I could actually ask it to improve my English, because I'm not native English speaking. So I could write a text like how I usually write everything, and I can ask it to improve my English. But I can also do that with copying and pasting the text inside here, and it will also improve the English in that sense as well. So there's a lot of things here that we can do. So you see now it also comes up again with the same like, dislike. It says that I have 2 of 30 responses here, and you can also answer from the web instead. So there's some possibilities here. One thing that is actually really cool that I can also do is that, let's say that I'm, as a Microsoft MVP, we need always to share knowledge in the social media and everywhere. So I can also actually go in here and create 3 social media post for Twitter for me. So here you see now it's actually created 3 social media posts for me. So I can just, again, take the text here, copy it, and I can go to Twitter and I can tweet about this. I still love to call it Twitter. I'm sorry, I don't like the X name. So, and as a lot of other people do, but I know why it's called X. But yeah, still, I think Twitter was a better name for the baby. But that's what it is. Parents can always have disagreements about how to name a child. So, but this for me is really cool, and this for me will save me a lot of time, because if I should go and tweet about this myself, I have to, first of all, I need to read it, and I need to write whatever I want. So here I can basically go in, and I know enough about Viva Engage to know what it does. So I can then go and just copy paste it. Basically, or you can always ask it to improve it. So that is also, I think, one of the really nice features inside here. What we can also do, which is actually pretty cool, is that if I will go into this one, it's also, again, the Copilot experience in Edge. So here you see that it now, since I'm having a video here, it also suggests some things here. So you see generate video highlights. It also has like 3 different words, and I'll get back to those later when I jump back into my slide deck. But this, of course, is where you can actually, there's different, like, do you want to have a creative answer from Copilot? Do you want to have a balanced answer from Copilot? Or do you want to have a more precise answer from Copilot? But for instance, here, I can also ask, summarize this video for me, which I think is pretty cool. And now it will actually go in and create a summary of this video as well. Because sometimes when you are having actually, when you're having videos, you want to post about it, you know. So here you see that it's comes in with a quite so long summary because I didn't specify that I wanted a short summary. So this is a long summary, as you can see, but that's also really, really good. And you see that it brings out 4 different key points that actually my interview with the one and only Mr. Jeff Teeper, which I did last year at the M365 conference in Las Vegas, and it highlights 4 of the things that me and him discussed during the 22 minutes interview that we did. But now, since this was pretty long, I can ask him to make a short summary for me, please, because it likes to be polite as well. So now it makes like a shorter summary, as you can see, than the one that I already had. So this is how you can interact with Copilot. This is how you can use Copilot today with the freemium version, because here I'm not signed in even. So here you see that link your work or personal account. I'm not signed in here. I'm just here without even being signed in. So remember, it will not be saved. There's a lot of things here that then it will not kind of do it. We also have the compose button up here. So this is actually something where you can say, yeah, tell Jeff Teeper happy birthday with a long birthday message about how much support he gives our community. And here you see we can choose the tone. It can be professional, casual, enthusiastic, informational, funny, or you can also add, for instance, concise. So you can add some tones as well. So if you go on the enthusiastic one, you can choose the format. So it can be a blog post, it can be a list of ideas, it can be an email. So in this particular case, I want to be an email. And I can also specify here medium, long, or short. So let's generate the draft and see, yeah, funny, this has been lovely, but you reach your daily limit. Try again tomorrow. So that's also what you get from not being signed in, that you have just a few of those that you can do. But let's just take the same text and jump into my other environment over here and do it from within here instead. Because here, as you can see, I'm signed in. So let's just go to compose. We can do the same text here. Let's do enthusiastic. And here you see that I have a few other options as well. Since I'm signed in, I can do a LinkedIn post, and we can do the generate draft, medium length. So again, now it will help me. And this is, since you see email here, you can use this actually to create emails to customers for you. You can use it to create a bullet point list, or you can use it to create like a text for you. Like for instance, let's say you are an intranet editor and you need to write articles on your intranet, then you can use this one by just with the paragraph or like a summary to create, or the blog post for that matter, to create text that you could just afterwards copy and paste into your page. So you see here that you have the copy option, and then I could just open up my page and I can just paste it in there. So for instance, right now I will just open up, let's just say Word. Oh, sorry. And then I can also paste this directly in there. And then I can continue to work on it. But again, if I have issues with starting to write, if I have difficulties with finding out what to write about, Copilot is perfect because it can get me help. It can help me get started to write. And also, if you have writing blocks or whatever, then it will also help. So here you see, happy birthday, Jeff Teeper, and it's already have the hashtags and icons and everything. Now I just have to try something and see if this works. Yeah, it actually looks like it works. It's funny, I didn't know I have a Microsoft Copilot license here, but that is nice. nice surprises, yes, on a Saturday morning. I just found it out just before I joined the amazing conference. So yeah, so here we see we have this one, but let's jump back because I'm not sure if you guys have paid attention, but it was a suggestion here again, add a picture to the post. Hey, that's nice, let's try to do that. Because pictures sometimes tells more than 1,000 words, as we have known. Yeah, that worked well. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work, but that's okay. Make it shorter. That will work for sure. So yeah, so we see that there's actually a lot of things we can start to use Copilot for already today. And this is why I wanted to highlight, like for me as a user, I don't need to wait for that $30 per user per license that maybe or maybe not my organization will buy for me, or I don't need to go and spend $20 per month per user for the Copilot Pro version, because first of all, I need to learn. I need to understand how Copilot works. I need to understand how to write phrases. I need to understand what can I do with Copilot. How can it help me in my day-to-day life or business? And with this, you can get started already today. You don't need to wait for anyone. Everything is in your hands. It's only up to you to be able to do that. And let's do now an informal version, because we'll see how that one will change the tone of how it writes. As you see, it's totally different. If we will just copy this one now and put this one also into my same Word document, you'll see that it's actually quite so different how this one works. So while I'm inside here, like let's assume that you have a Microsoft 365 license, and this is actually hello. Everyone, this is Knut from Norway. And then I can just mark the text and go to the Copilot, and I can ask write again with Copilot on my text. In this particular case, it didn't do a lot, but it improved my English still a little bit. And again, it gives me 3 different alternatives that I can select with. This is the inline experience inside of Copilot for Word. And this is actually one of the places where they have done most to have a good user experience with Microsoft 365 Copilot inside all the different applications. So here I can just insert the text. We also have the Copilot button up here, or let's just say I will go in a totally empty document, and you see now it's asks me to write something, write with Copilot. So write a text about Microsoft 365 Copilot. It should be 3 pages long. Just let's see how it works. So now, even without needing to go to the Copilot button over here, it just, again, shows me everything within the context of the document itself. So for me, the place where Copilot works best from Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, it's 100% Word at the moment. Things you can do in Excel is to help you to write all the formulas, for instance. So if you're not a fan of writing formulas, it can help you to do that. It can help you to do a lot of really cool things. I have a few blogs about top 3 tips about Copilot in all the different applications here. So if you are interested in those, feel free to reach out and I can send you the links for them. But here you see that it now wrote for me, yeah, not 3 pages. It only managed 1.5, but that's okay. We could ask it to write more, of course. If I go to Copilot over here, you see that I can also ask it to summarize the doc, or I can ask it to ask a question about this document, for instance. So this is also what I really like, that it comes with suggestions about what I can try, because if I'm a newbie, I have no idea how to get started. It's like a canvas that is totally blank and I have no idea how to use it. So I think this is some of the really nice features that they are integrating in Copilot, is suggestions to how to do things. So let's just jump back to my slide deck. I see we have not that many minutes left. So that's what that's with Copilot. The topic is so big, so you can talk about it for days, and you will still have a lot to say. So let's see if I manage to get this running correctly. Yes, perfect. Great. Feel free to ask questions later. So yeah. Looks like this was not what I wanted. Just 2 seconds. I'll just do that again. Okay, let's just jump into this one. Yeah, that was the one. So now you saw some of the possibilities. Then the next thing as a user you need to do is to understand, like, how are prompts working? What are prompts, for instance? Copilot prompts, it is instruction given to Copilot to perform a task. So this can be to summarize something, you can edit text, you can transfer documents, you can create engaging content and more. So the goal of prompt is to tell Copilot what you need. But how shall you do that? Like, what are the metrics? So, because for instance, prompts can be very simple, or they can be a lot detailed. You can have, like, maybe, as you saw, all the ones that I was writing, that was pretty simple. It's just like one sentence, but you can also write like multiple sentences and write like a huge text to what you want Copilot to do, which is more detailed. So when it comes to understanding prompting, there's a few things. You need to tell Copilot what you need. So for instance, you have some learn about projects and concept. What is project X and who are the key stakeholders working on it? Create engaging content, create a value proposition of product X, and so on. So here you have some examples to play with, because when it comes to understanding prompting, there are some ingredients that you need to look at. The goal is what you want. So for instance, create 3 to 5 bullet points. That's the goal of what you want out from Copilot. The context is, do you need it and who is involved? So for instance, here, to prepare me for a meeting with client X to discuss something. And then it's the source, like where shall it find the information that it should use in generating those 3 to 5 bullet points. So focus on email and team chat since June, for instance. Then Copilot will not look into documents in OneDrive and SharePoint. It will focus on emails and team chats, because that's also what you will have access to. And please use simple language so I can get up to speed quickly. That's the expectations. So the better you write the prompts, the better results you're going to get from Copilot. And that's why you need to start with this. So, for instance, we also have here, like, as I mentioned, we have the creative, balance, and precise. So if you want to have more imagination responses, like more light responses, then you should use the creative ones. If you want it to be a combination of the precise and the creative, then its balance is the one. It's like a good mixture of the things. But most of the time, you probably, in a work scenario, you want to use the precise one, which is giving you direct answers and no rubberish inside of them. So that's something to think about as well. Some best practices. So be clear and specific. Check for accuracy. This is super important. Provide details. Be polite. Ask for feedback. Give examples. The more you do this, the better your answers will get from Copilot. What you shouldn't do is like not be like direct with what you're asking. Then Copilot will be confused like everyone else. If you are not direct in your messaging, they will get confused. Give conflicting instructions. So if you want to kind of ask Copilot to do something that has multiple or conflicted sources, it will not give you a good answer. And of course, you should write in understandable language. If not, Copilot is not going to understand. Helpful hints. know Copilot's limitations. So Copilot is limited to your current conversation. So that's it. You need to think about that. Communicate clearly, as I mentioned. Start fresh. So make sure that you use the new topic button every time you should ask Copilot about something new, because it will keep in the context what you ask. So it's kind of the new topic is to clean the memory of Copilot, and you will start fresh. So make sure that you do that every time you want to ask Copilot something new. And you can also use quotation marks, because that helps Copilot to know what you write, modify, or so replace it for you. So here you have some top 10 things that you can try yourself, and you see here which application it uses. So the three first is Teams and email. So this requires you to have an M365 Copilot license, summarize a document, tell me about topics and a project, give me some ideas for. All those three are in the free version, either inside the browser, inside of Teams, or on the mobile phone, or inside of the on copilotmicrosoft.com. Or the last four, you have here, a couple of them are from Word, like for instance, help you to write as I saw you, or revise the content. These are really good inside of Word. Or as I mentioned, what did they say? This is really good. Copilot will do the research on that, or translate the message. For me, this is like super cool, because also if they are like, I work for multiple companies and one of them are French, so sometimes I get like a lot of stuff I have no idea about what it means, because I don't speak French. So then I can translate, for instance, the text into English, or soon also Norwegian. Cool. I think that leaves us to, we have 4 minutes left. So I think this one slide is a perfect end, because your first prompt might not be perfect. So learning makes perfect here. You need to try it out, you need to fail, you need to try again and fail again. And it's Copilot, it's not autopilot. So you need to make sure that everything that comes out of Copilot, you need to make sure it's valid information, and not just trust it as it is, because it might be wrong, and you don't want to send out an email to your boss or send out an email to your customer with faulty information. And last but not least, I also can highlight quite quickly this one. Copilot can and will make mistakes. So make sure that you check for accuracy here. And as you saw when I was inside of my browser over here, we was using a web page. If I will have a PDF open here, it's like the last hint of the day. You can also ask you to summarize the PDF document for you, which is really, really cool in scenarios where you maybe get something from a customer, which is like 20 pages long, and you need quickly to summarize that document. So that's the last tip of today, is that yes, you can also use PDF documents and ask for summary inside of the Edge browser, without needing the Microsoft 365 Copilot license. The big difference between doing things as you saw here inside of the browser is that here, whatever it generates, I need to copy paste it into somewhere else if I want to send an email, if I want to write a blog post, or if I want to create some tasks and so on. I need to copy paste them and do some work manually. While if I have the M365 Copilot license, or the Copilot Pro license, you see that it's integrated in the tool that I'm using. But again, you need then to train the user to find the Copilot button here, or as it was inside of Word, it's actually pretty nice, because you have the also possibility inline to ask Copilot about things. If I will mark the text, I can get Copilot to already in here. But that's not counting for Excel and PowerPoint at the moment. Excel and PowerPoint is only over here. So yeah, so that was everything for today. And I will look a little bit into the chat to see if there are some questions afterwards. Really happy to be here. I hope you learned something, and start to try Copilot today if you haven't done it already, because there's so much talks about it costs $30 per user per month. But yes, it does if you want to have it inside Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on. But you can start to use it already today with it not being integrated in the apps that you use every day. My name is Knut. It was a pleasure to be here, and I wish you a really good rest of the conference.
Rajendra?
Yes, yes, yes.
I think
Yeah,
you can take it over now. Yeah.
yes, yes. Thank you. Not.
Thanks so much, Nat.
Thank you guys for having me, and have a lovely day. And I will reply in the chat for now. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for joining today. Thanks much, Nat. Rajendra, I'm stopping the recording and then we can
Yeah,
move with our
yeah.
next speaker.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah. So our next speaker, Pratap Reddy, he is an Microsoft MVP, and he's an expert on the Azure platform as well. And Pratap, I hope you're there in the call, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Hi,
think I'm
Pratap.
audible, right?
Yes, 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 Pratap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Give me a
Thank you.
second.
Thanks for joining. Yeah.
I think I'm visible to everyone.
Yes, yes, Pratap.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and the stage is yours, Pratap, and please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Rajendra. And hi, everyone. And very good afternoon to all of you. I hope you had your lunch and everything. And the weekend, so I saw lots of people are joined for this Global AI Delhi edition. So thank you so much for these organizers and especially that Global AI community and Dhruvin Shah and their team.